Hello there, and hello 2020 favourites. Better late than never. We made it through the year, so it's time to look back on the makeup that made an impact for me. Skincare favourites coming soon too. Some creators with far more self-control pick a couple of products per category, but I'm just going to mention it all. My best discoveries of the year, old favourites, and products that just sparked joy in 2020 and made me enjoy playing with makeup despite the madness of the year. I looked back over the 57 videos I shared and my Instagram posts at Matilda on Video. I'm sure regulars will recognise plenty of these products, but there are also some pieces that didn't fit into previous topics. Make yourself a cup of tea or put this on in the background while you tidy up, because this is a big one. Let's meet the categories. Base, brows, bronze and glow, blush, eyeshadow, palettes, liner and mascara, lipstick, lip gloss, and brushes. That's going to be long enough, so my nail polish picks will be in my skincare favourites video. Starting at the beginning with base products. Two quick forever favourite concealers, these never change. Chanel Eclat Lumiere, the lightweight, fluid, brightening under eye concealer that seems to be discontinued in some regions, so I bought a lot of backups. And the Clé de Peau concealer, a super creamy, high coverage, but still natural looking spot concealer that is a luxury splurge but lasts for years. If you're new to my channel, you won't find favourite foundations here because I love really light, barely there coverage, so these were my top sheer skin tints and glowy base products. I was blown away by both of these Trini London tubes last year. The brand, founded by celebrity stylist Trini Woodall, really ticks the creamy multitasking box for me. Her BFF cream has been on my channel before. It's a fantastic, barely there skin perfector that starts as a grey tint but transforms to match your skin tone. I wear light medium, one of 5 sheer shades, but the team has committed to expanding the range early this year. Then the BFF De-Stress Serum, BFF Cream's higher coverage cousin, launched in November. It's still sheer, I only use about half a pump, but a lot more buildable if you're after more coverage, and it comes in 12 shades. Love this formula. It just smooths out your skin and creates the most beautiful, flawless, but still natural finish. A really simple summary of the difference between the two. BFF Cream is more sheer, more glowy, no makeup. BFF Serum has more coverage to even out and perfect your complexion. A firm favourite for the past couple of years has been By Terry's Brightening CC Serum. I was so honoured to become an ambassador for the brand last year, but this video is not part of that partnership, and I loved this long before I started working with them. You know it's my holy grail glowy base product. The shade Sunny Flash warms up the face, almost blurs imperfections like a filter, and makes your skin look so healthy and radiant. You can mix it into makeup, wear it underneath, or on its own. My skin really put me through the ringer in 2020. I think most of us had issues, whether it was caused by stress or masks. I've talked about how much I love By Terry's Hyaluronic Tinted Hydra Powder before. You can see how worn out this is. It's a non-powdery powder that just looks natural and barely there on the skin, but I really came to appreciate it when I was able to seamlessly set my concealer on some of the worst breakouts I've ever had, and the coverage didn't budge. I branched out a bit in the brow department last year. Still kept reaching for my Charlotte Tilbury Brow Lift Pencil in the shade Supermodel though. This has a thicker tip than a lot of fine brow pencils, but because my brows are quite dark and thick anyway, I just shade them in lightly all over and concentrate on any sparse sections. After years and years of countless Glossier Boy Brow tubes, but suddenly finding myself in a long-distance relationship with it from Australia during the pandemic, I started testing other brow gels and found 2 I was a big fan of. The M Cosmetics Micro Fluff Brow Cream in Brunette is a bit less tinted, but still has a creamy, comfortable feel. The longer, thinner spoolie is a style I might even prefer. It just shapes and lifts up your brows so nicely. Then the Charlotte Tilbury Legendary Brows Eyebrow Gel in Supermodel to match my eyebrow pencil creates even more lift, a really fluffed up, laminated look, and I find this skinny spoolie picks up less product, so you can really concentrate on brushing through your brows without leaving any clumps or too much tint behind. Time for bronzed skin and glowing cheekbones. The bronzer that popped up in my everyday makeup video in October and remained a favourite was the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer. This launched in May and comes in 5 shades. I wear medium, which creates a really natural sun-kissed look for me, dusted along my hairline, temples, and across the bridge of the nose to pretend I didn't spend most of the year inside. Another one that was all about escapism for me was By Terry's Brightening CC palette in Sunny Flash. The warm bronze tone and deep rosy blush was something I remember dusting on in the very early anxiety-riddled days of the pandemic. I wasn't going anywhere, I was just sitting at my desk, but it really reinforced that how a product makes you feel is just as important as how it makes you look. And the good news is they've brought this limited edition palette back. The By Terry Tea to Tan Hydra Bronzer was another fresh formula I loved last year. This is a water-light liquid to warm up your face and body or concentrate as a bronzer. It's a nice buildable matte, or you can shake up the bottle for more shimmer and glow too. I never need much, just a few drops in the palm of my hand that I stroke on with my fingers, but it creates a great subtle warmth like you're not wearing anything at all. Danessa Myricks was the brand I loved exploring most in 2020, and her Dew Wet Balm in Rose Water replaced the need for any other rosy highlighters really. This is glossy, glassy, dewy, balmy skin in a big compact. It comes in several shades, but they're not as pigmented as they look. You just tap it onto your skin to mimic a healthy, hydrated glow. We've reached the category I can never narrow down. Because I love creamy products, these are all cream blushes. If I was making a 2-minute version of this video and could only pick one favourite from the entire year, it wouldn't be hard. The Danessa Myricks Vision Flush in Ballet Slippers was my top discovery in 2020. A stunning, creamy multitasker for cheeks, eyes and lips. It has plenty of pigment, but it shears out perfectly and feels silky on the skin, so it was my go-to product for a peachy wash of colour. Planning to swatch more of the range this year. Did you catch my old school collab last year with one of my favourite creators, Hailey Kim? We played with every shade of the M Cosmetics Colour Drop Serum Blushes, and one of their new babies, Venetian Rose, jumped to the top of my list. This is the most dewy, glowy cream blush in my collection. You can bet you'll see it in my new Cream Blush Chronicles series, and this shade is a rush of antique rose perfection. Rare Beauty by Selena Gomez was one of the most exciting brand launches for me last year. You can find a big brand review on my channel, but one of the products I enjoyed most is the Soft Pinch Dewy Blush in the shade Joy. I mentioned in that review that these are crazy pigmented, so wipe all the excess off the doe foot, dab on 1 to 2 dots, and you'll still end up with very youthful looking peachy cheeks. These two Charlotte Tilbury compacts were some of my most used blushes later in the year. The Pillow Talk Lip and Cheek Glow formula is a really balmy kind of cream blush. I was initially drawn to the shade Colour of Dreams, a lovely dusty rose, but the next shade, Colour of Passions, really won me over too. A burst of berry that would work so well on deeper skin tones as well. This formula doesn't feel sticky or tacky, but it's not quite as slippy as other cream blushes, so it works well patted onto your lips for a bitten effect too. I could have put most of these blushes in their own multitasking category. The Fenty Cheeks Out Cream Blush range is still on my list for a swatching video, but the shade Rosé Latte is my pick of the bunch. Described as a soft, bronzed nude, this is my favourite kind of reddy brown colour to swipe onto my cheeks and eyes for a monochrome look in 1 minute flat. Like many of you, I looked to shop with more brands founded by women of colour last year, and the Dahia Beauty Lip and Cheek tint was one of my favourite finds. I'll be swatching her other shades in future, but Dreamer, a muted peach, is the one I reached for most. The pot can harden slightly, but swirling your finger around warms up the soft cream underneath, and it blends easily on cheeks, eyes and lips. Powering on with eyeshadow and a fun little colour group here. My most worn shadow, without a doubt, was the Burberry Eye Colour in Rose Pink. Sadly, I can't find this shade anywhere anymore, so I have that sinking, discontinued feeling. It's my dream rose shade for a soft wash of colour or a more statement pink with a red or berry lip. One of my favourite combinations. 2 Trini London eye-to-eye pots rolled around in my makeup bag pretty regularly. Fortune is described as a rich molten copper, but skin tone and undertones always play a part in how colours come across, so with my very cool undertones, it's more of a champagne. So creamy and easy to smudge on to add a bit of life to your eyes without any effort. Then the bolder shade Courage from the Mother Earth Quartet that launched in June is a real rich molten copper. Tiny pink flecks of glitter in the formula means it sort of reads as a red on me, but even a really sheer smudge works well to brighten up the eyes. Definitely seemed to be a copper kind of year looking at my next favourite. The Laura Mercier Caviar Stick in Desert Sand is a pretty similar shade. I saw this colour in action on Lisa Eldridge's channel. It's lovely as a hint of liner close to the lash line or a much more dramatic wing that does not budge. Compared to Courage above, it's slightly more orange in person, and people definitely call it orange when they comment on how bold it is. Another eyeshadow stick that's much more of a no eyeshadow shadow colour for me was the Chanel Ombre Contour shade Mauve from their 2020 Spring-Summer collection. What I love about this is it's actually much more of a caramel than a mauve, so it's great to add natural definition. This used to look like a liner, but I've worn it down from all that smudging. Last but not least, the terrific little Danessa Myricks Colour Fix Matte Tube in Desert Rose. This paint-like multitasker is the most pigmented product I own. You only need the tiniest dot. If you work quickly before it sets, a dash of this makes such a great rosy shadow and it won't move. You can see more shades swatched in my Danessa Myricks video. A few palette picks for the year. The Marc Jacobs iconic palette in Fantasine was a favourite from way back in February when I wore some of the shades to a wedding. I recreated that look in a flat lay Get Ready With Me. I just love the vibrant peach at the end and the softer rosy shades in the middle. Then 2 Charlotte Tilbury luxury palettes. I'm a big one and done eyeshadow fan for every day, but I had fun playing with some slightly more dramatic eye looks for me on a couple of special occasions last year. Charlotte's Walk of Shame palette is a rusty berry shadow lover's dream. Mine is a bit older, so it's now known as Walk of No Shame, but the shades are still the same. Then her luxury palette in Copper Charge is a Midsummer Night's Dream, so warm and toasty. I dig into that top right shimmery copper most for a striking orangey eye. It's a great one and done shadow shade, but I like using a tiny bit of gold in the inner corners too, and the matte warm brown in the crease. Here's my mascara and eyeliner lineup. I had more fun than ever with colourful liner last year, and a standout was the 1999 Beauty Precision Colour Pencil in Neutra. 1999 is a Canadian brand with a neat edit of multi-use pencils. I'm sure most people use this rose shade as a lip liner, and I do too, but it looks stunning on the eyes as well. As a pink shadow fan with green eyes, this shade adds depth along the lash line without looking obvious, but it makes my eyes pop. Speaking of making your eyes pop, Charlotte Tilbury's Magic Liner Duo in Copper Charge was actually designed to make blue eyes look brighter, but I love copper on green eyes too, so don't feel like you need to follow the rules. The dark matte russet is a great alternative to black eyeliner, and I love using the warm gold on the inner corners and under my eyes for a bit of sparkle. Those 2 rose and russet shades are great camouflaged eyeliner colours on me, but this Danessa Myricks waterproof cushion colour in Pretty Pumpkin could not be more bold. A true neon. It's more of a coral or hot pink than a pumpkin orange. It's so bright my camera can't even really process it properly. Painting this on as a winged liner could not feel more summery, and it actually shears out really nicely too. It's nowhere near as pigmented as her Colourfix tubes. Remember this mascara favourite from last year? Just goes to show that mini mascaras can pull their weight. Admittedly, I had far more mascara-free days in 2020, but my Hourglass Caution Extreme Lash Mascara is still going. It's probably lost some of the intensity it had when I first bought it, but I still love the length and curl and clump-free volume this creates. If you're after intense, very noticeable volume though, Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk Push-Up Lashes Mascara is a showstopper. Seriously dramatic lashes. The spiky sides of the brush start by adding nice length and a bit of separation, then bam, if you use the flat side, you pack on the volume and jet black colour. Not right for barely there lashes, but a whole lot of fun if you want to make a statement. Ready for the lipstick picks? 2 creamy matte bullets, 1 sheer stain, and 2 powdery liquids. I've had at least 1 Charlotte Tilbury lipstick in every yearly favourite since I started my channel in 2017, and here she is again. I loved her Love Filter lipsticks last year. Wedding Bells is a peachy pink that just deepens my natural lip shade slightly, and Mrs. Kisses is called a golden peachy pink, but it's a slightly warmer berry on me instead. Great autumnal tones in her creamy, long-lasting Matte Revolution formula. Regular viewers will know you don't often see lip stains here. I usually find them too sticky or dry, so you know I must have been impressed by this YSL water stain glow. The shade Transgressive Cacao is right in that warm, reddy brown range I love, and it's not patchy at all. You could build it up, but a thin layer feels light, and I forget I'm wearing it, which is a great sign. Liquid lipsticks are also a pretty rare sight around here, but I am a fan of more powdery, velvety, blurred lip-like formulas. Chanel's Rouge Allure liquid powder has been in a yearly favourites before, but last year I was all about the shade 978 Bois de Nuit, a low-key, rosy berry that's a bit more pink than my natural lip colour, so it creates a slightly fuller look. It wouldn't be one of my videos without a bit of red, so here's the Rare Beauty Lip Soufflé Matte Cream Lipstick in Inspire. Selena Gomez's go-to shade is a weightless, air-whipped, almost orange red. It's not a drying matte liquid lipstick at all, it feels barely there, just slightly powdery on the lips. Build it up for a burst of summer or smudge it in for a soft focus finish. I fell for more lip glosses than ever before, so here are 3 rosy shades and 3 clear glosses. No surprises that Dior's Lip Glow Oil is here, one of my earliest obsessions of the year thanks to its super smooth, non-sticky feel and amazing cushiony doe foot the size of a small couch. I could have easily included the classic 01 pink here, but I love 012 Rosewood too. You can find a more detailed review of this formula on my channel. Same goes for the Bobbi Brown Crushed Oil Infused Gloss. I swatched the entire range, but Force of Nature was one I kept going back to. This is easily one of the most comfortable gloss formulas I've tried. It feels so balmy and light on the lips, like a true cross between a gloss and an oil. I couldn't leave out Lisa Eldridge, could I? I was so glad to see her brand grow last year with the Gloss Embrace formula. Velvet Muse is one of my favourite Lisa lipstick shades, so having this matching rosewood in a truly nourishing, cushiony gloss is all I could ask for. See the rest of her gloss shades swatched in an earlier video. Then 3 clear glosses I often slathered on instead of a balm because they're just so comfortable and addictive. The Kosas Wet Lip Oil Gloss is such a thin formula, it definitely feels more like a lip oil, really juicy and lightweight. Jellyfish, the clear shade, lived on my desk for much of the year, so even if I was just sitting there in my pyjamas, my lips looked and felt more put together. You can tell how much I enjoyed the Marc Jacobs Recover Hydrating Coconut Lip Oil by how little is left. I bought this last year for a lip oil video that I'm still planning to film, but I've had to put this aside so I actually still have something left to swatch. Compared to Kosas, it has a thicker consistency, so I'd almost think of it as more of a clear, comfortable gloss. Even though it wore off quite quickly and wasn't something I'd reach for if my lips really needed hydration, I could not stop swiping this on. I love the feel and coconut scent. A lip gloss I can count on if my lips are dry is the By Terry Baume de Rose Liquid. Again, I love this so much I've scraped the sides clean and accidentally broke the neck of the tube, so it's just sitting on my desk until I finish it. A mini lives in my bag too. This is a lighter, glossier version of their luxurious Baume de Rose pot with a doe foot you can massage across your lips so they feel nice and smooth. We're nearly there. You know I'm a big fan of finger painting with makeup, but here's a quick recap of some brushes I enjoyed last year too. Charlotte Tilbury's Airbrush, a retractable kabuki brush that works so beautifully with her airbrush bronzer, it never picks up too much product. Refa is a Canadian brand I love who produce their beautiful brushes in Japan. This old prototype has been my favourite for dusting on the By Terry powder, but their current brush shape, 15, is fairly similar. Then you can tell the Refa 01 brush is my go-to for any kind of powder eyeshadow. It's a great blending brush shape that can pack on colour or smudge it out softly. And because I have slightly hooded eyelids, this old Morphe M441 blending crease brush is great to really soften the edges of any shadow and raise it up slightly towards my brow bone so you can see more colour. I'm exhausted. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. I'll leave my previous favourites videos linked below if you fancy a trip down makeup memory lane. Now I'm excited to hear about your 2020 favourites. Please leave your lists in the comments below. Did you spot any matching makeup here? Which brands or new launches stood out to you most? Please mention it all like I did. Thank you again for all of your support in 2020. I mentioned in my final video of the year that it's been unbelievably touching to hear that my channel could be a source of calm or an escape for so many of you in such a terrible year. Beauty in general and this little community was certainly a great escape for me too, so I can't thank you all enough for being here. I'm sure 2021 will be another big year of beauty finds, so make sure you're subscribed. I have a video ideas list long enough to last until about 2028, but I'd love to hear what you're hoping to see too. Thanks for watching. See you next time.